There is a particular kind of pain that wears a smile to church. It carries a Bible. It lifts its hands during worship. It says, "I'm trusting God," with such convincing warmth that even the women standing closest to it never suspect that something underneath is slowly rotting. Cecily Hargrove knew that pain better than she knew her own reflection. She was 31 years old, a senior financial analyst at a consulting firm in Charlotte, North Carolina, the kind of woman people described as put together, and meant it as a compliment without realizing they were also describing a cage. She dressed carefully. She spoke precisely. She planned everything, including her faith, with the same disciplined attention she gave her quarterly reports. Her apartment was spotless. Her prayer journal was color-coded. On her 5-year plan included a husband by 32 and children by 34, mapped with the same confidence she brought to client projections. She had given that plan to God at 24, laid it at the altar of a women's conference in Atlanta, wept over it with everything she had, and walked away certain that she and God had reached an understanding. That was the first mistake. But we will get to that. What you need to know about Cecily, the thing that makes this story matter, one is that she was not a pretender. Her faith was real. Her prayers were not performance. She had sat with God through genuinely hard seasons. The job loss at 26, her father's illness at 28, the relationship that ended so badly at 29 that she fasted for 2 weeks just to find solid ground again. She had come through all of it, and she had the journals to prove it. She was the kind of woman who showed up for God, for the people she loved, and for no one more faithfully than her best friend, Wren. Wren Calloway had been her closest friend since their freshman year at UNC Charlotte, where they met in a campus Bible study and immediately recognized in each other the same quiet hunger, the kind that sits in the back row and takes notes and means every word of every prayer. They had done life together for 11 years. Every heartbreak, every breakthrough, every 2 a.m. phone call about faith and fear, and the terrifying question of whether God was actually listening. They were the kind of friends who could finish each other's prayers. Cecily loved Wren the way you love someone who has seen the worst of you and stayed, genuinely, fully, without reservation. Which is exactly why what happened next was so devastating. Because the truth about Cecily, the truth she had not yet found the language for, was that beneath the color-coded journals and the careful plans and the genuine faith, she had built something quietly dangerous. She had built a timeline, not just a hope, not just a prayer, a timeline. With deadlines, with comparisons built in, with an invisible measuring stick she pressed against her life every single morning without even realizing she was doing it. And for 7 years, she and Wren had been at roughly the same place on that invisible measuring stick, both single, both believing, both waiting. There was a strange, unspoken comfort in that, a solidarity that felt, if she was being honest, a little too much like a life raft. Then one Tuesday evening in October, Wren called, and her voice was different from the first syllable, lighter, like something that had been pressing down on it for years had finally lifted. Cecily. Just her name, but Cecily knew. She sat down on her kitchen floor before Wren said another word. "He asked me, last night, on the trail where we had our first walk. He got down on one knee in the rain, Cece. It was so perfectly him that I just..." Cecily heard herself say the right things. She heard herself use words like thrilled and beautiful, and I'm so happy for you. She heard her own voice doing exactly what it was supposed to do, but somewhere beneath her ribs, in a place she would not visit until much later, something shifted. Not broke. Not yet. Just shifted. Like a door she had never noticed, opening a crack. She stayed on the phone for 47 minutes. She congratulated Wren. And she asked about the ring. She laughed at the right moments. She even prayed over Wren before they hung up, genuinely, beautifully, with all the love she actually felt. Then she set her phone down on the kitchen counter, stood at the window looking out at the Charlotte skyline, and said nothing to God. For the first time in 7 years of faithful conversation, she had absolutely nothing to say. She told herself it was just surprise. She was wrong. What Cecily didn't know, couldn't know yet, was that the silence that settled in her kitchen that Tuesday night was not an ending. It was an opening. And what walked through it over the next 18 months would test everything she thought she had already surrendered. This is the story of what bitterness looks like when it wears the face of a faithful woman, yet and what God does when He loves someone too much to leave her there. Before the story unfolds any further, sit with this for a second. What do you do when someone else is living the prayer you've been whispering to God for years? If that question hits deeper than you expected, then you're in the right place. This channel isn't about perfect faith, it's about honest faith. If you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss stories like this. And let me know where you're watching from. It means more than you think.
Episode 2 will be dropping soon. Stay tuned to this channel.